Hi students, today I am going to teach you the first chapter of your book, that is the last lesson. Although it is the first chapter, the name should have been the first lesson, but it's ridiculous that its name is the last lesson. This chapter has been written by a famous French novelist and short story writer, Alphonse daudet. He was born in 1840 and unfortunately passed away in 1897. This chapter has been set in the days of Franco-Prussian War, which was fought between France and Prussia from 1870 to 1871, led by Bismarck. France, you know about the France, and the Prussia. Prussia had been consisted what now are the nation of Germany, part of Austria and Poland. Unfortunately, in this war, two districts of France, Alsace and Lorraine, went into Prussian hand. Now read this story and find out what is the impact of war on school education and on the children who are reading in the school. Students, you must have heard about the social, political and economical impact of war. The first time we are going to study the war impact on education. We are also going to study about the patriotic feeling and greatness of language. Well, the story starts like this. There was a little child named Little Franz. He is the narrator of the story. He started late from his house to go to school that day and was in great dread of a scolding by his teacher named Hamel, because his teacher had given him the lesson of participles, but the student Little Franz had not remembered even the single word of participle. For a while he thought to flee away from school and spend the days out of the school, because out of school there was bright and superb, you can say a splendid atmosphere. Birds were chirping at the edge of the woods. Prussian soldiers were drilling in the open field behind the back of the sawmill. These all were much more tempting than the rule of participles. The boy resisted all the bad feeling and decided to go to school. When he was passing through the town hall, there was a bulletin board and he saw a crowd in front of bulletin board. So many people were reading bulletin in front of bulletin board. So he started thinking, what could be the matter now? What could be the matter now? Why there is crowd in front of bulletin board? Because from last 2 years, all the bad news had come from the bulletin board. France lost the war. 2 districts of France went into hand of Prussia. He had got this news from bulletin board. He had also got the order and draft of commanding officer from the bulletin board, and he started thinking, what could be the matter now? What bad news has been put up on the bulletin board today? Since he was getting late for school, so he couldn't stop there. and he was running towards school. There was a blacksmith named Wakcher. Wakcher was a blacksmith who was reading bulletin there with his apprentice. He saw towards little French and cried loudly, "Hey Bob, don't go to school so fast. You can get your school in the plenty of time." But little French did not stop there because he knew Wakcher was making fun of him. And he reached in little garden of his teacher Hamel, all out of breath. When he reached in the school, there was a total silence. Usually when school began, there was hustle bustle, but today it was all silence. He peeped through the window. He saw that his classmates were already sitting at their places. His teacher, M. Hamel, was walking up and down, keeping a ruler under his arm. He had thought he will enter into the class and nobody will notice him. But unfortunately, he had to enter into the class before everyone. You can imagine how blushed and frightened he was. First thing, he had not remembered the homework which had been given by teacher. Second, he was late. Third, he saw teacher M. Hamel walking up and down, keeping the ruler under his arms. Fourth, children were at all silence. They were not making noise. Usually when school started, they were crying. But today, they were at all silence. They were not crying. Neither they were repeating the lesson, nor teacher was rapping his ruler on the table. So he upbraided, he was blushed, he was frightened. Nevertheless, he entered into the school. Teacher M. Hamel saw him and spoke very kindly. "Go to your place quickly, little French. We were going to start without you." Little French jumped over the bench and sat to go at his place. Not till then he noticed teacher M. Hamel had put on his fine Sunday cloth. He had put on green coat, floral shirt and little black silk cap, all embroidered. He also noticed some village people were sitting at the back benches of the classroom. Usually the back benches of classroom were empty, but today village people were sitting at the back benches of classroom. He was thinking about this all. Till then, M. Hamel mounted his chair and with the same gentle and grave tone, he watched towards little French and spoke. "Friends, this is the last lesson which I am going to teach you. Because our district, Alsace and Lorraine, had been slain. Our district, Alsace and Lorraine, went into hand of Prussia. An order has come from Berlin to teach only German language in the school of Alsace and Lorraine from next year. This is the last lesson of French language which I am going to teach you." The word of teacher M. Hamel was just like thunderclap to little French. He started thinking, why it is the last lesson? Still, I don't know how to write and how to speak my own language. But he understood why the people of village were sitting at the back bench of the classroom. He also understood what had been put up at the bulletin board. But before some moment, his books of grammar, books of history, history of sand, these all were seeming nuisance, but these all books had been old friend to little friend. And M. Hamel too. The idea which came in his brain that M. Hamel was going out of his district and from next day a new teacher will come in school to teach German language. He forgot all about his teacher M. Hamel, that how cranky he was. He also forgot even about the ruler. But teacher M. Hamel started teaching. He gave to students lesson of history, grammar, and even the writing lesson. And little French noticed that all the children were at total silence. The people of village who had come and who were sitting at the back benches of classroom, including old Hodger, former postmaster, and former mayor. Hodger had brought an old primer. He held it open on his knee, and his spectacles he had kept on the page of the book. Children were at all silent in the school. They were looking sad also. But M. Hamel started illustrating to the people of village and to the students that students, you must not forget your own mother tongue, because if you forget your own language, it means you have been enslaved completely and you are in such a prison which key is not in your hand. But if you speak your own language, you can be free anytime, whenever you want. So he illustrated to the people of village and he illustrated to the students about the greatness of French language and patriotic feeling. He was too sad because he had to leave the school, he had to leave the country from the next day. While he taught the last day of the school, he taught to the children. He said to little French to recite the lesson. Little French made much effort, but he got mixed up in the first word of participle because he hadn't remembered. He held his desk and stood there to pull his face down. M. Hamel went on speaking. You are not worst, poor little French. We all must be reproached if you are unable to speak your last lesson. We all are responsible for this. Your parents are also responsible for this because your parents were sending to work in the field or to work in the mill instead of sending to school. And I am also responsible. I must be blamed. If you are not able to speak, I must be blamed, because during the time of teaching, I sent you to water my flower, and whenever I had to go for fishing, I always provided you leave to go to home. Thus, After illustrating this all, Hamel noticed that the Prussian soldiers who were drilling behind the sawmill, they were returning from drilling. Hamel stood on his chair, and then after he went down from his chair and he said to pull his head. He wanted to speak something, but he couldn't go on. He leaned his head to the wall and spoke, "Students, it is the last lesson. School is dismissed now. You can go." So, this chapter is really interesting, and in this chapter, writer is willing to illustrate you to respect our own language and mother tongue. I hope you are getting the chapter. I hope you understood the summary of the chapter. Thank you. Bye bye.